I did 3 startups. I don't think I can tell somebody here's exactly how to build a great company. I can share a lot of mistakes that I have made across the board. Raised more money than I should, hired the wrong people. Uh, we had an incredible exit opportunity where SAP, a large company, came in, did 3 months of really due diligence, looking at everything. And the whole company was excited that we're going to have an exit. The end of 3 months, they walked away saying they're not doing it. Uh, Never gave us any reason. We survived from there. We figured out a way. We exited out. We had a pretty decent exit by the time I really wanted out of running that company. It was my company, but uh, it got to a point where I was spending more time trying to raise money, trying to do a lot of things that I was not really passionate about. So our board was really like, okay, let's replace Jay with somebody else. They couldn't find somebody else. In the end, I stumbled through that. We exited out. Uh, 18 months later, the company that bought us, nobody had heard of them. They turned around, positioned us as their core offering, and they got bought out for $1.2 billion. A lot of people, including my co-founder, thought I should have stayed on and, taken that route. Looking back, I have no regrets. Like I said, I'm an awkward guy with an accent, right? Starting a software company, trying to pitch to people, raising money. I was just talking to Amanda, and Amanda was sharing some of her frustration with raising money. And I remember we started out with our first startup. We got a couple of people said, hey, you guys should go out and raise venture capital. So we went out and started pitching so we started, by the way, I live in Washington, D.C. and here. Well, right now, I think I spend more time here. My family doesn't think that's the right thing, but again, so we started the company in DC and we were pitching this. We pitched to 17 investors, right? Each of those, nobody said no. Each investor said, oh, this is a really cool idea. Would love to invest. When you find a lead investor, tell us. So we thought, wow, we had heard stories that it's very hard to find an investor. And every investor we were talking to was saying they're interested, but nobody was closing. It took us 17 pitches before we realized what these guys are, this is the way they were saying no. Go find some other fool to put money in, and then we'll see if it makes sense. And we were really struggling. And then somebody told us, investors are like lemmings, and it's all driven by Silicon Valley. So we had started the company in DC. So they said, if you get an investor from Silicon Valley, everybody would follow. And we had no experience, none of that. Me and my co-founder, we booked our cheapest flight. We reached out to a couple of people. They set up 3 meetings. We ended up in Silicon Valley. And we actually started pitching. And that was a different experience. And we actually got Sierra Ventures, one of the funds there, to actually write a term sheet. We closed the term sheet. We flew back, I think 2 days, 3 days back into DC. We came back. I had 10 calls from the same investors who had said no. We hadn't shared that information with anybody. Nobody really knew that we had just raised. But the word is out. And all of them were ready to give us money. And one of the guys actually forced us to take $500,000 at whatever terms we wanted. So when people talk about, sometimes people talk about Silicon Valley and then they say, well, we can't be that, or we, dismiss that. The ecosystem that is built there, right? The way they value the founders, the way they value companies is completely different. They don't look at spreadsheets at that early stage because we didn't have any revenue. And as just before coming over, somebody texted me this information. Mira Murati, if you look her up, she was the CTO of OpenAI. She just started a new company. because no revenue. Nobody knows what she's going to be doing. She hasn't said what they will do, other than that will be in the AI space. She just said a valuation of $9 billion, and she's going to raise $1 billion. And here we have incredible founders like Amanda trying to raise their Series A. So the CIE, I'm not going to get into the details of the CIE because, like I said, I don't have cool slides but the story of CIE was basically me saying, my experience, can I put it into some practical way where I can help other founders go through this process from an early stage concept and tell them about my failures, connect with them with my networks, and see if they can progress through this. Dave Segal was one of the early founders that we worked together. Athlon Sprucina is another one. Tanisha is one of the founders is here. So again, talk about Tanisha. She's working on an idea using AI to do recruitment. There's a company in Silicon Valley again called Mercor, which is kind of in the same space. They had a valuation of $1 billion and they raised $100 million. It was founded by 21-year-olds. So different worlds, but that's the world that I hope that we are able to build up here. Because there are people here, if you look around the room, look to your right or left. Either you're seeing a founder, a potential investor, or somebody who's passionate about this area. If we can pull all these pieces together, it's an incredible, incredible opportunity. You think about the industries in this area, healthcare, manufacturing, construction. Where are the next coolest startups in those spaces? Why is that not happening here? Again, I'm a replant from DC, but I love the community here. I love the people, the passion here. Somebody like Dave Kennedy, I met him very early in the process of when I was trying to figure out, is this what I should be doing? Is that this is where I should be spending my time? Martin and me, I remember the first conversation, and I had, Martin said he's going to start a fund. I was so excited because there's no true venture fund here. So I shared that with 3 other people that we both knew. All 3 said, yeah, we know what he's trying to do. It's not happening. And look where they are. It's an incredible fund. It's an incredible portfolio. So there are, like Ben Franklin and a few other smaller angel groups. But from there, what does a founder do for the next round? We need a bigger White Rose Ventures, much bigger than what they have here. And what I hope is, anybody in this room, I was speaking at an angel investment group, and I said, if you think from your investment portfolio, anybody who's, everybody who's making, even if you're working a career, a job, you all have an investment. If you take 10% of your investment as a risk investment, high risk investment, right? And support the potential founders through a White Rose Ventures, through an angel fund, what you're giving back to the area, what you're going to build in this area, it's an incredible karma that will come back. You're creating new customers, you're creating new talent, everything. So for me, I wrote down a speech and, I was like, I can't do that. I'm not wired that way. I'm great in conversations. I can pitch my idea. And right now, the biggest idea that I have is White Rose has created this incredible investment fund. CIE has created a process for creating good deals, right? We find founders, we take them through a process, we make them better founders, and then we connect them with investment opportunities. Why don't we put these 2 pieces together, right? We have been working together, we have been having co-investments, but if we formally put these 2 pieces together and then tell the rest of Central PA or the larger PA and say, this is where, great deals are happening with an early stage investment. And then I can go talk to some of the investors that had funded me early days, where it's Silicon Valley, Boston, DC, and tell them, hey, look at these deals. There's incredible founders that are starting great companies here, and they already got an early stage funding. So the early risk is taken out for a investment fund from outside the region. Come in and join their Series A. We can create incredible companies here. And I hope pretty soon, like, Dave Siegel and his group, like Martin said, has been on Time Magazine's top 100, every award that you can think of. What I'm hoping is the future is where we will have companies that will have $1 billion valuation, not far off. We have incredible ideas, great founders here. The only thing missing is that I still get the question in DC, where are you doing this? And I would say Harrisburg. And somebody would say, oh, where's that? That's the capital of Pennsylvania. Oh, really? He thought that was silly. I still get that. So I think, just one or two companies in this region that will actually put us on the map. In DC, there were three companies, MicroStrategy, AOL, and WebMed were the three companies that actually put DC on the map. And the founder of WebMethods was an investor in my company, and that's how we got a lot of exposure. So if the companies in this region start reinvesting, we have one or two exits that happen here, the whole dynamic will change. So I'm really, really hoping that the next meeting that we will have for White Rose Ventures, this room will be packed, including at least one or two companies that have raised money from outside the region that started with the White Rose Ventures. So with that, I want to turn it back to Martin because, as I said, Martin and I have talked about bringing this together. Again, he's the polished guy. He has the great way to tell the story of how we are bringing together what are the right pieces. It's certainly not me. So I want Martin to tell that, even though it's my story too. So thanks again.